How did the rest of the galaxy see humans at this point?
Well, the general idea seems to be kind of fragile. You know, 2 legs, high gravity world, but no obvious natural weapons, no armor plating or anything.
So like an oddity. Maybe even seen as weak.
Probably. Vulnerable, perhaps, which makes what happens next even more striking.
Okay, so then the other combatant enters. Mira Chen.
And the reaction is just shock. You can imagine this 13-year-old human girl walks into this massive arena.
13. Wow, what does she look like?
Just described in a simple white combat gi. But she has a black belt, dark hair, ponytail, and crucially, her face is, like, totally emotionless.
Interesting. Disciplined.
Very. She even does these respectful bows to Vrathar, to the Dominion overseer running the show. It adds this layer of surreal calm.
Does that control maybe help her later? Under pressure?
I think it has to, right? That level of focus.
But it causes a stir immediately, diplomatically speaking.
Oh, yeah. Ambassador Trelvars, presumably from another species, is furious. A child. In this kind of match, it seems like a major protocol breach.
But the human ambassador is just calm.
Completely. Just says, the invitation specified, send your representative. Mira is our representative. Boom.
That says a lot right there, setting a tone.
It really does. Even another commander, Rackstar, refuses to fight her, calls her a larval human, like an infant.
Ouch. But the overseer wants the show to go on.
Yep. The plan was a demonstration, and a demonstration they will have, so the stage is set. Looks like Goliath has this in the bag.
Okay, so the signal is given. Begin. What does Vrathar do?
Well, first there's this slight hesitation, maybe disbelief, maybe a flicker of something else. But then, yeah, the training kicks in, orders are orders.
He's not going easy, though. Or is he?
His intention is described as a quick, painless takedown, render her unconscious, win for the Dominion, but no, unnecessary harm to a child.
Okay, so a controlled strike. He gets into his stance.
Right, this traditional forearm combat stance. Ready for a fast move.
And the overseer says, begin. Vrathar makes his move.
He lunges. It's fast. It's precise. One of his upper arms shoots out, aiming for her shoulder. A standard disabling blow, probably.
Mira.
This is where it all flips. The transcript says she moves with impossible speed, just flows around the attack.
So not strength against strength. Agility.
Pure agility. And awareness. She knows where he is, where she is. It's incredible coordination.
And she doesn't just dodge.
No. She uses his own lunge, his momentum against him. A pivot, a grab.
Wait, she throws him? This 7-foot armored giant?
Throws him. A perfect shoulder throw, it sounds like. Suddenly, he's airborne. His center of gravity is just gone.
Oh, man. The landing must have been brutal.
Huge impact. His back hits the floor, hard enough to crack his exoskeleton, knocks the wind right out of him. Total shock for a guy like that.
He must be completely disoriented.
Absolutely. But Mira, she doesn't waste a millisecond.
What does she do next?
Instantly transitions, goes for a joint lock on one of his main arms, and her hands find this very specific point.
The weak spot.
A nerve cluster, the text says. A point that causes intense pain or incapacitation when pressure is applied. Something apparently unknown to Vrathar's species.
Whoa. So she knew his anatomy. Yeah. Or guessed.
That's the implication, isn't it? Maybe it speaks to how humans have had to adapt. Without natural weapons, maybe they focused on understanding biology, their own and others.
That makes sense. And how long did all this take? The throw, the lock?
Okay, get ready for this. The entire fight. 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Are you kidding?
3 seconds. From begin to Vrathar being completely neutralized.
Unbelievable. And then she just tells him.
Quietly, firmly, yield.
Yeah, he has no choice.
None. Shock. Pain. He says, I yield.
The silence in that arena must have been deafening.
You can just imagine. Total disbelief. Yeah. Then chaos erupts. The overseer is stunned. But the human ambassador, just a little smile.
Oh, that smile says everything. The ripple effects must have been immediate.
For sure. Which leads right into the diplomatic fallout. Ambassador Trellis, maybe the Dominion ambassador, is demanding explanations.
He probably thinks it's some kind of cheating, right? Forbidden techniques.
Exactly. He accuses them of using forbidden Quarian combat techniques. He can't believe a primitive species could do that.
But the human ambassador has a simple answer.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. He says it's called Judo, an earth martial art, developed over 400 years.
Judo? And Mira's rank?
3rd-degree black belt. So years and years of intense training, not just some fluke.
And the core idea of Judo fits perfectly here. Perfectly. Using the opponent's size and strength against them. leverage, balance, not just brute force. It's about efficiency of movement and energy.
How does the ambassador explain how a child could master this enough to beat Vrathar?
This part's fascinating. He talks about Earth, about humans having to deal with predators, 20 times our size throughout history.
Because we didn't evolve with claws or armor.
Exactly. So survival depended on something else. Intellect, adaptability, developing techniques.
Thinking our way out of problems.
Right. It's a compelling argument for why humans might develop skills like this out of necessity.
So human training isn't just fighting, it's understanding.
That's what the ambassador implies. Understanding physics, leverage, anatomy. It's knowledge applied physically.
And did the transcript mention Mira had a hobby?
Yeah, xenobiology is studying alien life forms.
Okay, so maybe she did have some insight into Vrathar's anatomy from her studies, even basic principles.
It's possible, isn't it? That detail adds another layer. Maybe identifying that nerve cluster wasn't just luck.
How do the Dominion officials react to all this? Judo, human evolution, xenobiology.
They're described as deeply troubled. I mean, their whole assessment of humanity just got blown up. They clearly underestimated human intelligence, dangerously so, perhaps.
And the human ambassador uses this moment.
He frames it carefully, not gloating, but as a friendly warning.
A warning about what?
Basically changing the terms of engagement. If humanity joins the Galactic Dominion, it won't be as some conquered or subordinate species. It'll be as equals. Or maybe not at all. The alternative is left hanging.
So this fight completely shifted the power dynamic.
Fundamentally. And there's a final image described. The replay shows Mira actually helping Vrathar up, showing respect.
Even after defeating him so decisively, shows her discipline again.
It does. And then the final line hammers it home. 3 seconds to change the Dominion's entire assessment of humanity. Just wow.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you from this deep dive?
For me, it really hammers home that idea of human adaptability, intelligence, not just brute strength. How facing limitations can actually drive innovation, drive understanding. We had to figure out physics and biology because we didn't have giant claws,
Yeah, that's the real aha moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
The gap between how humans looked fragile and what they could actually do through knowledge and technique. It flips the whole script.
Completely subverts expectations.
And it makes you think, doesn't it? About assumptions we make based on appearances or perceived advantages.
Absolutely. This story reminds us that knowledge, strategy, understanding these can be incredibly powerful equalizers. Maybe the most powerful. You see it all the time. Individuals or groups overcoming odds through cleverness.
It really leaves you wondering. I mean, if a 13-year-old with the right knowledge can stun a galactic empire in 3 seconds, what other assumptions are just waiting to be overturned? About capabilities, about intelligence, about everything, really.
Yeah.
That's out there, and maybe closer to home, too.
That's a great point to end on. What else are we underestimating? Plenty to think about there.